Hello, everyone. Welcome today. It's a privilege and honor to be with you today. Welcome to the Virtual Summit Unleashed. This summit is for you because I know that it's time for you to stop holding back. It's time for you to cut that leash that's been holding you for so long, and those excuses and those things you tell yourself why you're not going after your purpose, your dream, your plans, your vision, going after what you know that you're called to do, that you're supposed to be doing. My name is Wumi Akinlasuti, and I'm the founder and CEO of Blooming Ladies. To bloom is to flourish, is to prosper, is to thrive, is to be in your best mode, to be your best self. And with me today is a gorgeous lady, Naomi Osemedua. She's the sparkle queen. Naomi, please could you introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Naomi Osemedua. Osemedua is the name that I'm often called, but it's not my name.
Okay, sorry, I thought I got it today.
Yes, but it's a very popular mistake. Like I actually had a bank ATM card with what you just said now, and I had to go back to say, I'm sorry, this is not who I am. But anyways, thank you so much for having me.
You're
I am
welcome.
delighted to be here. I'm doing this live from my car. Like this is the beautiful thing about having a laptop lifestyle. Everywhere you are is work zone. So thank you again for having me. I'm a global media strategist based in Abuja, Nigeria. And I teach you how to go from invincible to visible using the tools that you already have.
Thank you very much. So Naomi, what made you to go on this journey, to start your business and be the visibility queen? What was the catalyst for you?
Okay, so in 2015, I was nursing my baby at home. I was new to social media, but I just was at a place where I was having a career transition and I was looking for what to do. And I found a live streaming app called Periscope, which was intriguing because with the touch of a button, I could connect with the world. And although I didn't know much about social media, although I didn't know much about doing videos, I decided to stay on the platform, because I saw something. I literally, I believe God opened my eyes to see that there was something, because at that point it didn't make sense. I had so many people wonder for a long time, what on earth is she doing? I would go live in public, I would go live in church. It didn't make sense. Well, it didn't make sense until I started getting invitations to teach others on how to do what I was doing. It didn't make sense until TEDx came calling. It didn't make sense until the Guardian woman came calling. It didn't make sense until, well, I think it started making sense at this point when I got invitations to speak in Dubai and Zambia, Social Media Week, Lagos and Nairobi. At that point, it was like, okay, we need to pay attention. And really, from not really knowing what to do when I started, I literally gained clarity on my journey. And now, apart from the work I do as a visibility strategist, I also lead a global movement called the Women with Stories International, where we are empowering women to find and own their unique stories so that they can serve others from the things that they have survived. So it's powerful because I could never have imagined in 3 years that all of this would happen, and this would be my life.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, what were the challenges you faced at first, trying to going after your dream and starting? You actually like you felt you stumbled into it, but I'm sure there were some issues that come up. It was a path you were not used to. So, what were the challenges you faced
Oh,
then?
but there was so much. The first was actually learning, and investing in my personal growth. I needed to not just stay on the platform, but know what to do and, how to do it and how to do it effectively, because I just didn't want to show up. I'm one of those people who believes if you have to show up, you might as well show up strong. You want to show up from a place of knowing what you're doing. Even if you started not knowing, at some point, people don't expect you to stay in that place. So there were challenges in, growing and evolving with everything that was happening. And it was quite a bit of tech. And remember, I was nursing my baby. Another thing that came up in between all of this, I think a year and a half later, I got pregnant again. And so now I was having another baby through the journey of building a business, leveraging tech. Then there was, again, some would see this as a challenge, though for me it wasn't much, but the people not understanding what I was doing. And that this is something that happens to a lot of people who are really ahead of their times. Sometimes what you're doing might not be what people understand. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that you're not on track. So that was a major thing. When people finally caught up, of course, it was good for me because I became known as an early adopter. But it was challenging. I remember a friend of mine actually telling me at one point that my videos were disturbing her feed. And that was a lot to take in because I was just going live on Periscope, and an app was always sharing my videos on Facebook. And because she was my friend, I think it was always coming on her timeline, and she found that a bit unpleasant. So there were lots of things that kept happening, but I refused to be deterred with what people felt and what people thought about it. I just needed to focus on what I wanted to do, and I'm glad I did.
So I can imagine your friend telling you that. So what did you do? What was your response to her when she said your feed was disturbing her?
Well, I kept going and I didn't stop. And it's funny, people see my life right now and it's almost like a fairy tale. I think that's the biggest part of my brand. It's really the inspiration, especially with people who've watched me evolve and watched me grow over the years. Like, I just returned from the US, and some of the events that I attended, the rooms I got into, the people I got to meet, it's almost impossible. Like, how did I go from a stay-at-home mom nursing her baby with no tech background to getting into such rooms where I'm meeting with the likes of Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, Les Brown, Wesley Snipes. I mean, people that some of them I had to Google to actually understand, like, am I really here with these people, like, right now?
Mm,
So I think that's what we owe those who doubt us and those who feel, who are you to do this? Who are you to
mm,
chase after your dreams? I think
mm.
what we owe them is to focus and, stay the path, because
Yeah.
they will come around. People will talk, whether you do good or you don't do good. People will talk. What you owe yourself and what you hold, what you owe God, your creator, is to stay on your path of purpose and fulfill your purpose, because that's why you're on earth. So that for me was my driving force. And so I really couldn't be bothered. I mean, of course, it kind of strained the relationship, but there is no, like, you can't put the two of us in a room right now and not wonder, oh my goodness, like, we're just like worlds apart. And yeah, that's one of the things too that happened. I think I lost quite a lot of people, not because there was a quarrel or there was anything. We just got to this place where there was no alignment. And for every person that has walked out of my life by virtue of one thing or the other, I've gained so many more who are actually on the path that I'm on. And I'm just having a great time. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's so interesting. Thank you very much. I know the last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were nursing your baby, and then when she wakes up at night, you had to use that time to do some other things. So could you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so one of the things, so that was still Sammy, my son, and even Sparkle. I think in all my pregnancies since I got live, when they wake up, I mean, for a lot of mothers, that's one of the hardest things. And I love my sleep. But, instead of complaining and feeling like, oh, woe is me, that this baby has to wake up at 2 a.m. to feed, I started taking advantage of those times. So I would stay online to maybe watch someone who was live, or I would sign up to a webinar. And at that time, that maybe it's 8 p.m. Eastern in the US, it would be about 2 a.m. in Nigeria. And I would be able to connect and learn. So times where my babies were breastfeeding became times where I started investing, and I started learning. I mean, since I was going to be awake anyway, I might as well do something. So I started multitasking a lot. And I think pretty much I've kind of like really honed that skill. So I'm able to do quite a lot of things at once. So it's like, if I have to board a plane, there is no wasted time. I'm either live or I'm reading a book. If I have to wait somewhere, there's always something that has to feed my mind. There's always
Mm.
something that has to keep me in that place of alertness, because I'm very intentional. I think time is precious. We don't have all the time on earth to waste. And I think that prayer that says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom, I think is one of the most powerful things that you can pray, so that your days are fruitful. You know how you can just go through a day and you're like, so what did I do today? What did I really accomplish today? Yeah. So um, that has helped me just, stay the path and stay really focused.
Yeah, thank you very much, Naomi. And I know that you've met various women, different women and friends and family members. So I'd like you to share with us, what are some challenges that women normally tell you or share with you, or reasons they have why they can't go after their dreams, why they know this is the path they should go into, they should be on, but fear of something. So what are the challenges, what are the reasons or the excuses that these women tell you are the reasons why they're still staying leashed, staying
Okay.
tied?
Okay, that's a great question. I think the first thing, and I get a lot of that, I think a lot of women are afraid. So there's always that first fear of, I don't know what to do. I don't have clarity. There is the fear of, what if I fail? There is the fear of, I really don't have support. Maybe I don't have a supportive husband like you do, Naomi. Like, oh, you can chase your dreams, but my husband doesn't want me to work. My husband doesn't want me to do anything. And then there's also the fear of, really giving themselves that permission. In this part of the world, it's almost like, as a woman, you're just fine being a mom and a wife. Just stay at
Mm.
home, take care of the kids. And even if you have to work, just work, just go to the office, come back, or go somewhere, teach, come back. It's almost like, those who are like, hey, I'm going after all that God has for me. It's almost like, who are these people? Who are these ambitious women? It's a good thing to be ambitious. Ambitious for me is really just really, really fulfilling that all that God has for me. So I think a lot of women struggle with finding that balance, as a mom, as a wife. How can they be this other person? But I want every woman listening to understand that this other person is exactly, who you should be. You're being a wife and a mom is great, but if we took away all your titles, who are we gonna find, right? And that's one of the exercises I take women through. Like, so who is that person? You know why you need to find the answer, because at some point it will still come up. And okay, so recently I spoke in Lagos, and on a table over dinner, you could see women who have had very successful careers. Even, one of them sitting beside me, she's really successful. 20 years on, she's built a business with her husband. She's successful. But you see, deep down, there's still that longing of, who am I? Like, is this all there is, right? Like, okay, I've made the money, I've done this, I've done that, but I feel there's more. And that longing is your path of purpose. And finding it, the earlier you find it, the better, because you can do all of that. And then what happens when the kids are gone? So for those who say, oh, my kids, and that's fine. I respect that. I have 4 kids, and I'm integrating everything, and it's a lot of work, but some might say, okay, I want to be there for the kids. Be there for the kids, but still think about, what else? When the kids are out, what are you going to do? Right? That's when you get people getting to that place where they just feel like, oh, I haven't done anything with my life. And they start getting frustrated and bitter and mad at the world. No, you can't be mad at the world, because you were waiting for permission. You were waiting for permission before you took your first step. A lot of people would presume that nobody would support them until they take the first step. And then the husband you feel will not support you would perhaps be your biggest cheerleader. And you're there waiting for others to give you permission. And the truth is, you have not given yourself permission. So for whatever thing you're afraid of, for whatever thing that you're using to hold yourself back, I would say sit down and first of all, give yourself permission. Permission to chase after your dreams, permission to say yes, because your dreams are valid. And God, who has placed a seed in your heart, expects you to birth it, right? So
Thank you very much. I really, 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 I really like that. One thing I realized that lack of self-actualization will actually throw you into depression, and having a lot of hatred, and if you're not careful, burnout, and you just feel like your life is not really fulfilled. I know that we give a lot of excuses, but come on, ladies, it's time to get unleashed. It's time to cut that rope and let yourself go, and stop giving yourself excuses. Stop being afraid. You've heard everything Naomi has said today. I really like the way that she went into detail about the things she faced. Waiting for permission. It's not. You don't have to wait. No, but there's no perfect time to start. Don't wait until you have all the money you need. You have all the knowledge you need. You have all the right connection, or you have everything clearly written out in front of you. Just go after start where you are right now. Take one step at a time, and you'll be surprised how things will fall in line. We're not saying there won't be challenges on the way, but I'm sure that when you start, you realize that it's not as difficult as you felt it's going to be. So Naomi, what are some challenges that you faced as not just starting, or that you're facing now, and how were you able to overcome such challenges in your business and in life generally?
Okay, so for me right now, I would say one of the challenges is now putting structure around my business, structure around my home, structure because my times are, feeling like, oh my God, it's like the hours are not enough in a day. So for me now is getting to that place where with growth comes more responsibilities, and I have to find a way to integrate it all. So I keep using the word integrating because I don't know if there is that work-life balance. I don't know if there's a way it will all balance. But in integrating, it's just making sure what works now, what needs to wait, what do I need to push to next year, what do I need to not do at all, right? So those are some of the things that I'm dealing with right now. But pretty much it's been an interesting journey, one that I would do over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's interesting. So thank you very much. Okay, on the final notes, do you have a last word for the lady listening to you now that just needs to take that next step? So what are the final words you have?
So this is what I would say, and I mean, if you're listening right now and you are at a place where you're not sure, get help. I think for too long we stay silent because we feel people will laugh at us or people will not understand. I mean, until you start speaking about what you're dealing with, you'll be shocked that there is nothing new out there. There's nothing new under the sun, right? So get help if you have to get help. Look for a mentor, look for a coach who can guide you through the process. But more than anything, be willing to take that first step. And even if you fail forward. Because the truth is, God who created you has put so much inside of you, and he expects that the gifts and the skills and the talents that you've been given, that you would use it to make this world a better place. And when you sit back and you don't do anything and you keep giving excuses, then you're no different from the guy that was given a talent. I mean, remember the story, the parable of talents. While the other two did something with their talents and multiplied, one of them went and buried, for whatever reason. And when the master came, he banished him from his sight. And so it's important that as you journey through earth, that you know that God has given you things that he expects you to use, because there's only one you. No one has your DNA. No one has your fingerprint. You're special. You're unique. And the world is waiting. And it's time for you to show up. And it's time for you to show up. And it's time for you to light up the world. And as I would always say, go and sparkle your world. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You've read everything you need to hear today. So no more holding back. No more staying stuck. No more tying yourself down. It's time to be unleashed. It's time to be set free, to go after your dreams and your passion. You know what? There are people waiting for you. There are people's destiny that's tied to yours. And with only you will they succeed. And they're waiting for you. And I'm waiting for you also to cheer you on and to know that you need to show yourself. You need to share your gift with the world. You need to share your passion, your uniqueness with the world. And we're waiting to actually be there to cheer you up. Thank you very much for being with us today. This is again the Virtual Summit Unleashed. Unleashed, 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 girl. Go after your dreams. Thank you very much.
Go
God
for
bless.
it. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.